The Ed Thomas Coach of the Week. This comes from Scott Ireland. Scott is at KGAN, KFXA TV in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Ed Thomas Coach of the Week. Again, a phenomenal community campaign that does great for the community and makes money for the television station as well. So let's talk about that. They partnered with the Ed Thomas Foundation to honor local coaches. There are tons of television stations and radio stations all over North America that honor like the high school athlete of the week. Newspapers do the high school athlete of the week. They chose to honor the coach of the week and through this Ed Thomas Foundation. Now, Ed Thomas, for those of you that don't know it, it was a very, very popular coach in Cedar Rapids who was actually killed by a former student who had mental health issues, and he had just been released from a mental health hospital and came in and killed the coach in a very, very tragic and just stunned the entire community. So the family did what great families do. They formed a foundation. They formed a foundation to keep Ed Thomas's values alive in the community. And his values were essentially this: if you played football on Ed Thomas's football team, it wasn't just about playing football. It was about academics. It was about, he had the opinion that you are you are a community leader. You are someone that kids look up to. And we hear all the time, well, they tell us that we're not a role model in the NBA. They tell us we're not a role model in the NFL. And Ed Thomas said, you are a role model. If you're playing high school football in this town, kids look up to you and you need to behave that way. So they wanted to continue these values in the community. So they decided to partner with the Ed Thomas Foundation, find a sponsor so that they could do this throughout the year, solicit nominations online, and then winners would be great coaches who also gave back to the community. So the participants were the Eastern Iowa Airport. Again, here's another airport participating in a community event that we wouldn't necessarily expect an airport to participate in. The Ed Thomas Foundation, who generated funds from this, and then all of the station properties were involved. This is a 40-week yearly campaign. So they honor 40 coaches per year. They run weekly features in their 9 o'clock and their 10 o'clock news on their two different television stations. Each coach gets a plaque, and they feature that coach receiving the plaque, and for each plaque, the foundation gets $100. The sponsor 30s run each week adjacent to a news segment they do, giving the plaque to the coach. And then the station and the airport together with the sponsors hold a year-end banquet where they fet all the winning coaches. They bring them all together. This is now in its second year. The station gets $45,000, got $45,000 the first year, $50,000 in year two. Airport loves the promotion, and the bottom line is there's a lot of proud coaches walking around. There's a lot of proud coaches in their offices with these plaques hanging in their office. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look on this one. We have a 2-minute piece on the Ed Thomas Coach of the Week.
Ed Thomas set an example for all Eastern Iowans. His foundation of faith, family, and football is an inspiration for everyone. The Eastern Iowa Airport wants to help continue that influence on our community. We believe by working together, we can create a place where families want to live and where businesses can grow. And that's why we are partnering with CBS 2 and Fox 28 to profile every Thursday who embodies these qualities of leadership on and off the field.
Register your coach.
Show.
I think really if he could, he'd put some pads on and practice with us.
Rip! Tackle! Now. A good trait to have at Applington Parkersburg. Pollock has already done the impossible, stepped in for a legend. And 4 years since taking over the Falcon football program, Coach Pollock still preaches the same principles, but in his own way.
I mean, he tries to be like Coach Thomas, but there's never going to be another Coach Thomas, and he knows that.
Everything that Coach Thomas stood for is what I want to be about. You get to teach him much more than just the X's and O's of football. You get to teach him very valuable life lessons as well.
Teaching those same life lessons is one of many ways that the Falcons keep Ed Thomas' spirit alive here in Parkersburg. But while the program honors its past, Pollock is writing his own story.
The way to best describe that book would be he tries to follow in Coach Thomas's footsteps, but he also brings a newness to the game.
I do hope people are seeing that he has his own legacy, because he's not who my dad was. To me, he has his own legacy, and he deserves to have his own legacy. And hopefully people don't associate our program still with the times that Dad was here, because it's a different program.
But one Coach Thomas would be proud of.
The tradition that he's carried on, the stuff that he's trying to teach the young kids, the fact that he came back to the program that he played in, I think that would mean a lot to my dad.
I'm sure I'm sure he's looking down and very proud of stuff that